Okay, so first of all, we'd like you to share your journey into the field of product management with us.
Oh, but with probably many PMs you ask, it was by accident, really, because I was working in a small startup that was working to push job ads to job boards in a very convenient way for our clients. And I've been there since a student and a low-level techie that just did whatever was needed to get the startup going. And that included a little bit of coding, but it's just to call it that, a little bit of client support and project manager. And one time, after doing a lot of decision making, the CEO called me a product manager, maybe by a mistake or whatever. It had a better sound to it than a project manager. And I started investigating the position and found out that it's actually pretty fun to do. And one day I was named product manager actual when the CEO decided to work on different stuff. So we split his responsibilities, and I was given the chair of an actual PM, which the CEO would be doing previously. But I, many years later, I discovered that maybe I was called product manager. I was doing a little bit of product management, but it was nothing like the actual PM's work, which turned out later when I wanted to switch positions, and I would get a rejection after rejection after rejection. And back then it was hard. It was pretty discouraging. It would get your morale to the ground. But at the same time, that time wasn't lost. I was learning more about product management within my company, within the theory. I was polishing my job recruitment skills, knowledge about resumes, and that only deepened when I ultimately landed the product manager actual position in Stepstone, which got me to the world of adult product management, where I could see how different it is when you try to take what you read in books and apply it to real living people and real clients of the numbers of hundreds of thousands. And that was a bit of a rude awakening. But again, that was another 2 years that all prepared me for what would happen later. After 2 years in Stepstone, I decided to change to LX. That lasted only for a year, and that's not relevant. But what was relevant at this point, my knowledge was sufficient enough that I started working on my training program to teach product managers and aspiring PMs how to be best at the positions. And that also coincided with me landing the Sky position. And long story short, I did a lot of teaching, I did a lot of product management, I did a lot of writing of different articles and posts, and here I am, as I was presented just a moment ago, which sounds like some other person, not the Bart I'm seeing every day in the mirror.
Right, that's very insightful. That's a very exciting journey into product management. And I believe our attendees are inspired by that journey of yours. So our next question would be, what do you enjoy the most about product management?
Really achieving success with the releases of the product. Whenever you have some hypothesis that some change will have specific effect, and you invest a lot of work into building your hypothesis, finding the data to prove it, to convince your team and people around you to support what you want to do, to find the right interface, the right dialogue with the user. And then you see the numbers coming back positive, that whatever you thought will happen, happen. And that moment of success, the moment where the adrenaline goes up because, yay, those metrics are moving. And in my particular example, that means that more people are applying to jobs. That's an awesome feeling. I don't know if it would be the same if I would be, I don't know, working in Amazon and trying to get you to buy more not necessarily needed stuff from Amazon, but at least now my mission is to get people to get new jobs all around the pool of industry offers, that's really encouraging to continue.
Well, that's very exciting. As a product manager, for me too, I think several times when I've been asked what excites me about this role, that would be what excites me the most. Pushing the product out and having users use your product, enjoy using your products. That's like an exciting milestone for us as product managers. So thank you so much. That was very insightful. So I'd like you to highlight some key milestones or experiences from your career that has shaped your perspective. So what are those things that you've hit that has shaped your perspective as a product manager?
I would say that definitely first weeks at Stepstone were the most enlightening because it was the moment where you would translate what you know into what actually needed to happen. And I remember like it was yesterday, my first meeting with my new team, and we were supposed to prepare an item for a sprint to be ready to do some specific change in the product. It was disaster. The team was quarreling and calling me names for literally an hour. And when they left the room, I had to sit for another 5 or 10 minutes, semi-depressed, not knowing what happened and how am I going to change those team of outlaws and enraged developers into a well-oiled machine. But that was the challenge that also shaped my career because I was able to do that and I learned how to talk to those people, how to create the team. And I could then use those skills also in OLX, in Skype. And again, now when I'm back in Skype, though, sorry, in Stepstone, though my current team, would I say, is really exemplary and they make my work really easy. So I'm really happy with the people I'm working with right now. And also, what really shaped me as a PM that can teach good practices to other PMs was one particular agile coach that helped me to separate myself from being a project manager in my like foundation, because as I mentioned, I did a lot of project management in the startups, so I was very focused on micromanaging, on getting things done, and literally standing with a whip behind the person and making sure that stuff gets done, because otherwise in startup they wouldn't get done. However, as a PM, you have to let go of it. You have to let people grow. You have to let people fail from time to time. And you have to expect the promises to be fulfilled. Otherwise, you won't be a great product manager because you'll be doing project management and you won't have time to do all those other activities that make you what PM truly is. A person that invests a lot of time into making the right choices and being able to guide the product into a better future, more profitable future, more valuable future for the users.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That was very insightful. Thank you. So, we're trying to work with your time also. Right. Thank you very much. But now talking about transitioning into product management, many of our attendees have come from different professional background. Some of them are aspiring product managers into transition into product management. So what advice would you give to professionals from different background or people who have no tech background looking to transition into product management?
My general advice would be to try to do a little bit of product management on your own. As hard as it may sound, you don't need a team, you don't need a company to do product management. And at its core, it's a feedback loop of trying to achieve some goals, failing, and trying again. So it's pretty similar to running a company. But you can do it really on a blog, on a YouTube channel, on a small app if you can code, or whatever you picture as your product, and then learn about product management and apply those principles. This will give you a lot of personal knowledge on how to do it, what are the things that work and don't work, and based on that, you can start building your story, building what will make you a great PM. And in fact, I have people who transitioned from no experience to product managers based on the social media accounts that they would run as a product manager, and they could translate that into a story in their resume and in the job interview. And the person I'm talking about is actually went already through those 3 years that I've been teaching product management from a junior to mid product manager, and she's doing really, really fine. However, if you are transitioning from no experience to like trying to have a product management internship or junior position as your first role, it will be hard. I'm not gonna lie, but the best you can do other than making something of your own is to also make it your hobby. To spend 30, 60 minutes per day to read about different aspects of product management, watch YouTube videos, maybe find some affordable calls that will help you, though don't count on the certificates to give you entries. Certificates, as they stand in product management, are basically a scam. No one will look at your certificates when evaluating whether you are a good product management manager or not. The courses might help you. The certificates are not some like key to victory. It's your story, it's your actual knowledge, and it's your communication to convince the person on the other side that you should be given the chance. But it's not always feasible to transition from no experience to XP to PM, even a junior position. Sometimes you have to take a long way around, and for that you will need to try to land a junior position of a job that can be easier landed without experience, like a developer, like a QA engineer, some of those positions that are close to a product manager or a product owner, or maybe product owner itself. That can be confusing on what's what here. But the closer you are to product manager, the more you have the experience of at least observing this person working, the more you can raise your hand to help the sitting PM, maybe replace this person when he or she goes on holidays and be the sitting one. Do whatever you can to do product management without being a product manager. And when the time is right, just talk to your manager, disclose your ambitions, tell him or her what you already did to achieve this level of experience and knowledge you have, and try to figure out a path for your eventual promotion to product management. There are only two things that can happen. You either hear, sure, we'll work with you and figure out how to do it in time, or you'll hear that this will never happen. And if this will never happen, that you are in the wrong place and time to find an institution that will make it happen. So in summary, you can go from no experience with very hard work and making sure that you have the right story and the right knowledge. Most of you, however, will have to have some prior career and being closer to a PM in order to be promoted from that position. And the best way to ensure that is to be proactive and try to do as much product management next to a sitting product manager as possible. You're muted.
Thank you so much. So that is so much knowledge received, and I believe this has been enlightening to everyone listening today. So our next question is actually one question that I think someone has just posted in the chat box. We'd like to know what skills you believe is needed for a successful transition to product management.
I think that you should start with communication. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but I'm put years of hard work to build those sentences, to figure out what I want to say. And despite that, I'm far from perfection, but the stories you need to tell as an aspiring product manager, as a person who will need to convince those stakeholders to take on your ideas, or the team to go behind the idea that they might initially reject, is something that will work a long way to present you as the right person at the right place. Of course, typical product management skills like being able to manage the team, to be a leader without actually being the manager, skills that involve prioritization and well, time management, really. As a product manager, you will have tons of stuff you can do, so many viable opportunities, but only a handful of them can happen at the same time. Because you are limited with the people around you, by your own time and energy, and you should never work more than those 8 hours. We as human beings can't be expected to do quality work when there's too much work to go around, and you will need to say no a lot. You will need to allow things to fail because you had higher priorities. But the ability to identify those highest priorities is of the greatest weight. And I struggle with it even now when I need to make sure that I prioritize things between my work, between my teaching, between my home, between my health. There's not enough Bart to go around to get all those at the best output. Something has to be sacrificed. And that goes to any aspect, even of work during your regular product manager day. Let's see those: communication, prioritization, knowing good practices of Agile Scrum really helps. That gives you a solid foundation for a before mentioned product owner, which was really product manager, which is hardly ever product manager because of how companies position this position, but it's a story for another day. Those three. I did mention leadership, that it really helps to unite the people, to inspire them, to know what to say, because delivery as communication is one thing, being able to ease conflicts or inspire people is quite a different thing. And those are the four ones I would say are most important when presenting yourself as a professional and a good product manager.
All right. So in summary, we have the skills necessary, very important skills necessary for a successful transition into product management would be communication, good knowledge of Agile Scrum practices, leadership, prioritization. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That was so enlightening. Thank you. So are there any common misconceptions that you think people have, or challenges that you think aspiring product managers should be aware of as they transition into this role?
There are two, I would say. The first one is the already mentioned confusion between project and product management. In very brief explanation, product manager is supposed to answer the question on what to do to change the product to gain most value, and project manager needs to figure out how to make it happen. So very often product managers are expected to do the delivery part, which really shouldn't happen. There's different position for that, different set of responsibilities that sometimes are pushed towards the development team. But as long as you know the distinction and you know that someone asks you to do project management under the label product manager, you know one possible trap. The other trap, maybe not trap, but misconception that can stop you believing in yourself or that this will ever happen to you, is the belief that you need to have strong technical background. That's not true. You need to have enough technical knowledge to talk to your developers and know more or less what the hell you're doing. I have a PhD in AI, but that's not the AI that everyone is excited now about, right? So I do understand how ChatGPT works. I understand how machine learning works. Am I able to code it? No. Am I able to say what makes a good machine learning algorithm? No. And I'm not going to. That's not what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to know what this technical tool is supposed to do for the user at the end. And someone else has to figure out whether how to achieve it. My knowledge needs to allow me to distinguish what from what's possible and what's impossible, and to challenge my team whenever they feel they are not able to achieve some task. Because yes, people do doubt ourselves a lot, and sometimes are just lazy and want to go with a simple solution. And you, as a product manager, need to look past that. Sometimes it will be a genuine rejection of an idea. That's okay, but you can't be in a situation where you can't talk to your team and you don't understand how they work and how they achieve their goals. One thing that can be also brought up here is, for example, version control. If you understand how this works, you will understand a lot of what's going on in the technical conversations, which, if something goes wrong, you can then translate to completely non-technical stakeholders in a more digestible communication. So don't worry if you never coded, if you don't know how machine learning works. Don't worry if you don't know SQL by heart. You have time to catch on basics of the skills if you need them. But that's not what makes a product manager, and that's not a barrier to entry. In 95%. So let's just leave some small space to product managers that are highly technical, and those positions like AI product manager will probably need to know more about AI than I do. But the generalist, the product manager that's mostly sought for in the market, doesn't have to have a strong technical background or any technical background at all. Just a little bit of intelligence to understand the little tech that he needs to in order to communicate with his or her team.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. So what are the responsibilities, the core responsibilities that a product manager handles in her day-to-day life as a PM here?
The core responsibility is to decide on what to do next with the product and in which order. And the order here is the key responsibility, because you need to learn about the complexity of the thing you want to do. You need to learn about the risks, and you need to be able to compare different requirements to change product between one and the other. And it can be very varied and difficult when you, well, for example, want to implement a new feature, but at the same time, you have a deadline on changing the product in order to adhere to new legal changes. How do you compare those? The other gives user a lot of value, but the other one will force your company to pay fines if you don't make it in time. Can you afford the fine? Can you afford to wait because you want to risk delay because the other thing is more important? There's tons of dilemmas like this, and this is the very hard main responsibility. But other than that, you need to be able to inspire your team around you to be that leader that helps people to achieve their goals just by saying the right things. And in the broader scope, we need to be able to build long-term plans or vision on how to develop the product, to know where you're going, what you want to achieve, and what will make that goal happen, what features, what changes in the product. Maybe you have to figure out what to delete from the product because it's too complex, or maybe you're not addressing the right market, or you're addressing the right market but with the wrong set of features. That's pretty hard thing to do, and it's commonly known as the product market fit. Some products have it, some products will struggle to achieve it, and sometimes ultimately fail. But that's that's the gist of it. That's what you want to do as a PM day to day.
All right, thank you. So can you walk us through the typical life cycle of a product? So bringing a product from ideation to launch. Can you walk us through that?
Of course. First, there is life, an idea, something that we want to do, whether it's okay, let's focus on the product, not the increment. So we want to introduce something new to the market. We should start with a problem, something that needs to be solved, fixed for the users, and that we believe we can solve. Don't start the other way around with a solution that's looking for a problem. That's the quickest way to fail as a PM. When you have that idea, you should be able to somehow verify whether you do that by asking potential clients or putting on an MVP, like a very limited version of the product. Or maybe you find another creative way to make sure that the effort you will invest into creating the product will ultimately, well, pay back, will make a product that you can monetize in one way or another to make it all worthwhile. When the product is released in some form and that product found its niche and it's growing, your next step is to make sure that this growth is as fast as possible. Whether you do that by marketing or you do that by understanding how your users use the product and what makes it successful and investing in different aspects of that, that's up to you. That's up to day-to-day product management work to observe and understand what will drive that growth. But ultimately, nothing lasts forever, and that growth will suddenly, not suddenly, one day flatten out a little. And it's the time when you as a product manager need to understand that you did everything you possibly could in this market. And maybe it's time to slow down investment and look for another product idea that will allow the company to still grow while the product that you worked on previously no longer has right potential to do that numbers that your stakeholders, maybe shareholders, will expect. With that, there's inevitably coming a day where the product might be closed. The sunsetting will force you in a position where you want to make sure that the product still runs for the clients that need it, and you invest as little as possible to keep it running in order to limit the costs and still get profit. Of course, this is not like a line that goes like this for every product. That's you can have mini cycles of growth, stagnation, and decline, and change the product in a fundamental way to revitalize it. It's particularly visible in the gaming market, where some games would have started slow and then blow up, like Among Us during pandemic. And some games would follow exactly the classical curve of release, growth, stagnation, and decline. But really, as a PM, all you have to focus on, despite that life cycle I just explained, is to make sure you can get as much value from the product with minimal investment and minimal risk and minimal effort at any given time. And don't worry if you think that the product is declining. That means that maybe market change and you can still do something. Or really it's time to make sure that you invest in something else. Those are equally potential decisions that you have to make. And all you have to do is to make sure you get as much value from the product at any given time as possible, knowing the market, knowing your users, knowing your product, knowing what else can be done to get more value.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you very much. So now, what strategies do you use to collaborate effectively with engineering, with teams, with the various teams, the engineering, the design, marketing, and all of the departments? What are the strategies you use for your collaboration?
There are two main pillars that I use, and one of them is involving those teams as soon as possible in any given project. So they feel invited, they feel like, not like, they know they are collaborating on shaping the final form of any given update or product, and everyone can chip in and basically call product managers mistake. We as PMs are people that are there also to facilitate great ideas and great knowledge and make sure that the composition that lands at the end is as good as possible with the people that are there and happy to help. We are not like super intelligent wonder people that know all the best and just ask people to do that. Our talents should be more connected to recognizing the best ideas in the room, the most intelligent people, the most talented people, and taking all that they say and what we think, we are also that voice, into the best possible version of any given update that we can identify. So that's one thing. And transparency and attention to detail is the other. That's when you disclose your motivation, you share your research, you share your numbers, you share every background, and basically treat my team as CEOs when presenting any ideas to make sure that they understand where I'm coming from and what led me to specific conclusions. And everyone has opportunity to point out the faults in my line of thinking or suggest maybe doing something more, whatever. It's not about pride. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about collaborating together to the best possible outcome. And you are just there as a captain of the ship, and your crew makes the ship afloat. So respect your team, make sure they know your plans, and sail the high seas together.
Thank you so much. Just before we go on, I think for those participating, you can now drop your questions in the chat box. We'll be rolling off shortly, so we'll be addressing this question. So you can just drop your questions in the chat box and we'll be attending to them. And I believe we all have questions. So let's do all to drop our questions. Thank you. So back to our speaker. So what would you advise our participants to stay up to date with the latest product management industry trends and best practices?
I would invest your time in three areas. Medium posts, which have a lot of talented product managers that write whatever they think is right about product management, and are few talented writers. Looking for product management content creators on LinkedIn, such as myself, like Shivishi, like Pavel Hurin, like Diego Granados, and many other people who share their knowledge, who share their stories and insights. And that is really what um, helps you to stay up to date. And lots of those people, my colleagues, have their newsletters that they work hard to compose every week or every second week. And I think that's also a good way to stay up to date and know the trends. I'd also wouldn't go without visiting YouTube from time to time and trying to find good product stories, because that's like a hack that I think really helps in interviews and leading the products. If you know the history of the most successful one, because history likes to repeat itself, and there are a lot of things you can learn from knowing how Facebook blew up, how Instagram came to be, why WhatsApp is one of the biggest communication apps in the world right now. Understanding that will help you to better lead your own product, as well as very subtly weave those stories into your responses during product management job interviews, showing that you really did your homework, you invested time in knowing that histories, you understand them, and you understand how the learnings from those histories can be translated into other products.
Right. So, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. All right. So, now this is an advice for success. So, looking back on your career as a product manager, what is one piece of advice you wish someone had given you when you were just starting out? So, what's that one thing you wish you knew?
Oh, that's a hard one. Care about your product, but not to a point where it can bring you down. You need to, on the one hand, care for it. So you have the passion, you are dedicated to it, and you celebrate the product's victories as your own and as your team's. But at the same time, if you get attached too much and all those problems that come with development of IT products, most specifically not being able to do everything that's needed in the time that's needed and prioritizing, can really be painful and bring you down. If you can detach yourself and realize that you can only do so much, and the best you can do is do the little you can as best as possible, then I think my life would be much more free from past stresses when I tried to do more than was physically possible, especially in the first decade um, of my career. Now I'm not there yet. I mean, I guess that no one will ever fully be, but knowing this, it's easier to control your stress levels and be simply happier at what you do and be more proud of what you achieve. Because if you are focused and you do few things right, those things will be at least successful or done right. And those things that will fail, well, they will fail regardless of your input. One thing might not fail, but others may. And if you do take too much on your plate, those things that should be really focused on and taken care of will fail. And trust me, you have to pick your battle.
Right. Right. Thank you so much. That's interesting. I think I should have asked this before even concluding with this question, but we have a lot of aspiring product managers who have this syndrome, or call it an imposter syndrome. They always feel like, oh, I don't have a technical background. I don't understand so much about coding. What do you think you would be your advice to them? Maybe they think they have to learn something technical to thrive, to understand the technology of building a product.
So maybe following up to my earlier advice of just not letting that stop you, and that you don't need to have technical background. There are a few technical topics that you can invest your time to be moderately informed, and those would include current modern AI. That would include version control of software, SQL, version control. What else? Maybe if you want to learn a bit of coding, Python would be good for product managers because this helps you to do some mathematical statistical analysis as well as play around with AI on your own within what's quite accessible and available on the web. You need to understand what APIs are and how they function. That's about it. Maybe I can add, if you can add, learn principles of good design that might help you, but this is like a stretch goal, really. The ones that I listed before should be enough to allow you to navigate the technical complexities of day-to-day life and to know enough to talk to your development.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I guess that was very good enough for them. All right, so I think our final question to you would be, what message you would like to convey to the attendees of this masterclass that are eager to succeed in this field of product management?
Don't give up. It will be hard. It will be hard to land the position. It will be hard to maintain the position. It will be hard to achieve success, but only with trying hard, only with being consecutive now, like keeping on track and doing your best, will you eventually succeed. This role is not one that allows you to succeed easily and quickly. It's about doing things right as long as it takes until you get the win you need, because you will have it. It's just a consequence of your hard work, and things will go down. You will fail at job interviews. Your meticulously crafted updates won't give you the return in metrics that you want. But that doesn't matter in the long term. I've spent 3 years to land my real product manager job, the first one after I tried to leave the startup I mentioned. Now I'm here with you. I'm here after Microsoft. I'm here after teaching 20,000 people. And I had to fail again and again and again in those 3 years, 5 years, many years. And I know that I wouldn't be the person that I am if I didn't do suffer those failures. It's the learnings that we learn from those failures that shape the people we are, the product managers we will become. It's part of the journey, and don't ever let it stop you.
All right, thank you. This has been very enlightening. So you've spoken to us about the skills we need to succeed as a product manager. You've spoken to us about the product development life cycle. So we understand what it means to bring a product from ideation to the point of launch and to see it even grow. So thank you so much. And thank you for the insightful words you shared to us, to all the participants, all the attendees. I think would help them as they look forward transition into product management. So I think we have some questions already in the chat box. Okay, someone here is saying we should share the screen for practical illustration. We didn't make an arrangement for that, or we didn't make arrangement. Okay, you want to say something?
Yeah. Unfortunately, this was meant as a conversation, not like a presentation. But I'll drop a link to my LinkedIn profile. Please follow me there. I'm sharing as practical as possible means visualization and knowledge almost daily. So I assure you that if you follow me, you will find awesome content on a regular basis. There you go.
So yeah,
So
so we
can we
have the link.
connect to you through the link that you're going to share?
Sorry?
I said, can we connect to him through the link that he's going to share as on LinkedIn?
Yes,
Please.
yes, that's the link I dropped in the chat.
All right. Thank you so much. It's a
My
pleasure
pleasure.
being here.
All right, so we have someone who says, how can one land a product management job? It says getting internship is quite hard. This is from Rita. It says, how can one land a product management job? Getting internship is quite hard, and one requires years of experience to work with the company or organization.
Well, just the positions that require people with no experience are few and far between, but they are there. And as per our beginning of our interview, I strongly believe that working on your own product, on your own stories will give you an edge. Don't be, don't think that certificates will change anything. They won't. And it's also about working on those stories about product management, about the skills you read about, and understanding the successful histories of different products can make a difference for someone that tries to land an internship or a junior role. And again, for given the sparsity, sometimes it won't be enough. So it's best to have like a two-pronged approach. On one hand, you're trying hard to land those junior roles, but at the same time, try to also land a role close to a PM, connected to design, user experience, coding, quality assurance, something that you can do with less experience or no experience and still be a part of that product team that creates products. And this is being recorded. So in a few days, hopefully this recording will appear on my YouTube channel. So I encourage you to go back to the beginning of the webinar when I went into detail on those two strategies. Those are like maybe shortened and supplementary version to that answer.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think we have the next question, and that will be, okay, I think this person was probably not here when you shared about the skills required for a product manager. So she says, what are the basic skills required as a product manager? I think a summary will do for this person.
So as we established previously, it was communication, that was agile Scrum basics, prioritization, and leadership. And again, there will be a recording, so I went into detail of those four in an earlier part of this webinar. So just come back to it when it will be published. I dropped the link to my YouTube channel in the chat.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So that is Faith. So Faith, you can follow him, subscribe to his YouTube channel, and then this webinar will be made available for you to go through in a few days' time. All right, so we also have this question. It says, how can, I think this person wanted to say product management. So how can product management thrive in time of AI? I'm not quite sure. Okay.
Let's assume it's about product management, not project management. And I would say that we have the time of AI, but more and more do we find out that AI is not like a key-all solution to everything. It's just another tech tool that we can use in the product. And nothing changed for PMs. But it's not like we have an AI that can replace us, at least for now, at least not with large language models. Who knows what will happen next week, 2 weeks, 6 months, 12 months. But for the current status quo, we as product managers, need to identify whether adding AI to our products makes sense. Will it work? Will it be something that we can afford? Just yesterday, I noticed that LinkedIn added AI generator for the header and for the description of the profile. And when I tried it, it produced grammatically correct sentences that were bonkers. For example, it said that I, Bart Jaworski, work at Stepstone and make sure that calls on Skype are as good as possible, which is okay. It just merged two of my positions into one. And it's like, what? Of course, it's beta and it's testing it, yada yada things. But this just shows you how difficult it is to use large language models reliably. It's still only a text generator that is extremely good at generating text, but it's not a general AI. It doesn't understand what it's talking about. You shouldn't be afraid of okay, most of people won't be replaced by AI just yet, not with this tech. It's impressive, but it got the world a little bit fooled initially that it's more than it actually is. Especially now when after months of tweaking, it got slightly more polite and more controllable, because I feel that the initial release of ChatGPT was a bit, had its character, had its like spice to the answers it given. It could be sometimes rude or ironic, and it was just fun to talk to. And now you're talking to a corporate clerk that just gives you raw data and tries not to insult you in any way, shape, or form, which basically also killed what it used to be for many people.
Right. Thank you so much for that. That's insightful and hilarious. Thank you very much. Okay, this person is saying, what should be the starting point of building a career in product management?
You should be your starting point in the career product manager. You should be willing to take up the challenge, dedicate the time, be ready to fail time and time again, and be ready on this long journey. The strong commitment to succeeding here is where you want to begin. And then you do everything else I spoke about throughout the last hours.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we do not have more questions for now. You can still drop your questions while we're rounding up this webinar if you do have questions. But this has been very enlightening. I personally have taken in so much from this class. And so I also like to add to our participants, like our speaker here said, building products or transitioning to product management really is about building products more than the certifications and all of those other things that you're told. It is about building the products. And so I'd also like to introduce to, okay, I think we should take these questions before I go on.
I just don't, I don't clearly understand this question, because it's like, are there different Scrum Master? If yes, can you explain that of product management? I don't really know what Rita is asking, unfortunately.
So Rita, would you like to explain yourself better?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, hello. So I heard this, okay, there can be a Scrum Master in terms of product manager. Like a product manager can also be a Scrum Master. Like I think a Scrum Master is a person that has knowledge of agile.
Okay. I think I understand what you mean.
Okay, you understand, right? All right, thank you.
Okay, so by the book, product manager shouldn't be the Scrum Master. Scrum Master is a different role that is there to coach the team, to help them unlock any potential, unblock any potential things that hold them back. And of course, this role can be eliminated and the responsibilities can be transferred to either one of the development team members or product manager. But that's not a healthy way to do it. Product manager, without being Scrum Master or anyone else, has more on his and her mind than realistically can be processed during the regular 40-hour week of work. And if you take additional responsibilities, you do your product management bit worse and worse. So I would try to, if possible, not work in the organizations that tell product manager that he or she has to be a product owner and Scrum Master in the team at the same time.
All right. So Rita, does that answer your question? Do you have clarity on your question now? Oh, okay, she says I think she has a response on the chat box, Dr. Bart.
I don't see any new, but I guess we can presume that yes, if there's no follow-up.
All right. She says, okay, you can see, she says, you're saying a Scrum Master can be a member of the team, but
it's different.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, the Scrum Master is different from the PM. All right, thank you.
Indeed.
Okay, so I think that's a round up, or we don't have any more questions for now, so that concludes it. But in addition, like I was saying, in addition to all that he has said, a product manager, to become a great product manager, to start out in your career as a product manager, it really is about building products, like our speaker has said, and beyond the certifications, like he said. Product Varsity has training programs that helps aspiring PMs build products. So it helps you to train you in building these products. So we have training programs and PM classes that helps you build this product or trains you to build a product to have add to your portfolio. And we graciously have Dr. Bart as a member of our team. He helps us, he has helped, like we said, he has helped hundreds of aspiring PMs land PM roles by reviewing their resumes, his courses, helping them with mock interviews to ace their PM interviews. And he will be working with us in Product Varsity to provide career support services to learners to help build your PM resume so in such that when you apply for jobs, you are sure to stand out to recruiters, and then help you with mock interviews to help you ace your interviews when you're called up for those interviews. So we have graciously his presence with us in Product Varsity. So more information will come to us on that. And I believe you can tell us how this webinar has been for you in the chat box. And let's say thank you to Dr. Bart for his time. It's been an hour. He's been speaking to us for an hour. So let us tell us how the webinar has been in the chat box and say thank you as we round off this webinar.
And thank you for having me. It was really fun to be here with you today.
Thank you. All right, so we hope to have you very soon, and we believe that these people we are seeing here would be joining us very soon in our actual PM classes, and we'll be seeing you again to learn from you and to learn from your wealth of experience. To gain from your wealth of experience.
And have a great weekend all.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 All right, thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. I believe it has been enlightening, and we hope to see you register for the Product Varsity PM certification classes. So we're going to have Dr. Bart as kind of a lead facilitator. So he's going to be assisting our students through building products that you can present to recruiters as something you've worked on as a product manager, and then it can help you start out your career as a product manager. And also, I'd like to add that for those of you who asked how you can gain internships, how you can get started in your career as it is difficult to gain internships, I would like us to note that Product Varsity is working with startups to ensure that everyone who learns at Product Varsity is placed on an internship at no cost. So everyone who graduates from the Product Varsity training program gets to intern at a startup company where they gain experiences, they gain real life experience as a product manager, and then can be launched into the markets as a product manager. So we have all of these things in store for you in our product management training program. So you get to build products from scratch to launch, and then you also get to I'll answer these questions. And then you also get to have career support service from us. You also get to have your resume built such that it stands out to recruiters and you are able to fit into the job market as a product manager. And then we also help with mock interviews. So we're going to have industry experts help you with mock interviews that would help you to actually ace and pass interviews when you're called up for an interview after your training. And then we also have our internship program that will be going on, or you'll be placed in after the training program. So all of these things we have in store for you at Product Varsity. We'll be sending out mails when the registration opens up, and we hope to see you in our classes, and we hope that you will tell other people about the Product Varsity training program. And also we have an exclusive course for product managers who do not have a technical background. We have our technical product manager certification. So it's for product managers who do not have a technical background, and those skills that our speaker, Dr. Bart, has listed, like the APIs, understanding of APIs, SQL, understanding of what else did he mention? API, SQL, coding practices, how a product is built, the software development practices. All of these things are going to be taken to help PMs who do not have a technical background and who think they are not going to do well because they do not understand how a product is built. It helps you to understanding of technical terms, or having technical knowledge helps you to communicate better with your engineers. It helps you to also it helps you with prioritization to make informed decisions. So we have a special course called the Technical Product Manager Certification that not only takes you from being a newbie in the products market, in the products industry, but also helps you gain technical knowledge so that when you start out in your career as a product manager, you speak well, you communicate well, and collaborate well with different teams with different departments within the product team. So we're looking forward to having you on our next cohorts. Our registration opens up for the cohorts on 25th of August and closes on the 25th of September, and we have made it very affordable. I mean, for the quality, for the value that we're going to be bringing to you, we have this global leading PM as a member of our faculty, who is going to be walking you through this journey as a product manager. He's going to be with us, and we have made it very affordable for you and made even payments very flexible for you to be a part of this class. So we're hoping to see you, and we'll be sending out mails. And also for the certification, you're going to be getting certificates. Every participant will be getting a mail with their certificate of participation in this masterclass. So you can look forward to that. I think I have one question that says, how long does the training last? Oh, the product management, just for the product manager certification, it takes 3 months, that's 12 weeks. And the technical product management certification is going to run for 16 weeks. So more information, we're going to send you mails that contains more information on the training programs. So thank you all so much once again I would like to get your feedback to let people know how this classes went. So send us your feedbacks via our mails or via our community. Thank you all so much once again for joining. My name is Benita Eze and I'm representing Product Varsity. Thank you. Okay, so Onyekachi, I don't know, someone says hi. So do you have something to say? I think you can speak. All right, how much is it to join for the class? So you're going to get that information via your mails. And also you can visit our website, www.productvarsity.com. And also in the next mail we'll be sending you links to join our community where we share product knowledge and collaborate with each other to grow in the product community. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rita. Thank you. So I'm looking forward to having you again, probably on our next webinar class. So thank you guys so much. And I think this ends. Okay. And also for this special class, for those that don't have tech background. All right. Yes, definitely. You're going to get all that information. You're going to get all that information. So I think this wraps it up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This happened because of you, and I'm grateful. All right, so see you guys soon again. Thank you.